SwissBorg is now the official partner of my channel, so you can buy, earn, stake, sell, all in one secure mobile platform. Download using the link in the description, deposit €50 or more and you'll receive up to €100 worth of their native token CHSB. SwissBorg! Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at the dump party that's taken place on a Monday morning. We did a quick live stream last night, a bit of a catch up for the Patreon members, and we're talking about how things aren't looking particularly good, but it's nothing new. We've been saying sitting out of this market throughout September is probably your best bet after having such a decent couple of months through the summer, really. So that, bag those profits, kind of sit on the sidelines and wait for what's most likely going to be some lower prices, maybe even a large capitulation in all markets. It's obviously going to bring Bitcoin down further. So Bitcoin's scraping around this support right now, about 18,000-ish area. To me, it's a bit of a non-area, really. I don't really believe in this as being a support or anything like that. I think inevitably seeing a retest of this 200 exponential moving average on the weekly, and then getting rejected from it and sort of moving back down, it spells sort of disaster, really, for the chart. And we can speculate as to where it's going to go from here. There are certain areas of interest. About 16,000 could be one, also 14,000 as well, which is your previous top over here after the bull market began and shot its load straight away, and then consolidated after there. But the main one for me, to highlight and stick to my, I suppose stick to the promises I've made myself, would be that if Bitcoin does make its way down to 12 and just wick down below 12, that would be for me the green light to start buying back into crypto across the board. So using Bitcoin I suppose as a messenger to say that, all right, this is a really significant low put in right now. If you believe in crypto, then you could think about buying this particular dip. And I've highlighted certain coins, mostly the exchange tokens, which I strongly believe in. And that also, I would go as far as to say, the DEX exchange tokens as well. So we got Cake and Uni token and whatever. All those sort of things would come into that as well. But for me, there's the shopping list is a bit broader, and it's usually, for me, it's going to be mostly boring, because I've been saying for a while that this next bull market is likely to be driven by altcoins, but not the shit coins that you probably think. It'll be more along the lines of the ones who are governed by utility, reputation, and regulation as well, and they're going to be, they just sound boring. So they do sound boring, but I can show you an example of this right now. We've got Algorand, one of the biggest things that I bought in the capitulation dump for a long-term purchase, because there's decent staking rewards on it. It's actually up today. It's up almost 10% with its Bitcoin pair, but its Tether pair is still in the green. You transfer that information over to something like Ethereum, which is supposed to be the coolest kid on the block. It's falling. It's falling hard. The rumor is being sold. Bitcoin again coming down to this major area where I think we're going to come down from. Now, if we look at the volume on the weekly here, last week closed with the biggest red volume that we've seen on Bitcoin's history ever. These sort of things normally mark areas of interest on the chart for, well, I suppose a huge dump party. It doesn't necessarily mean the bottom, but sometimes it does recognize a bottom, but it doesn't reflect on the price. So I think that we're going to come down further and probably see another one of these dwarfing this red one as well. If we maintain the bullish divergence on money flow index and RSI, that could be enough to help speculate as to where a bottom would be or is close to being. Might not feel like it at the time because it's not likely to bounce straight back up, but these are some of the precursors that we've mentioned on the chart on the channel before to help us navigate what a low might look like. And that low, like I say, would look like a big red capitulation here. We'd have bullish divergence on weekly, money flow index and whatnot, and you could look over to see where the total market caps would be. And for me, the total market cap that I'm most interested in is total market cap 3, which excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those two boys have been completely beaten up by the institutions that people know and love. Institutions coming in, Elon Musk, this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, fair enough, but if you compare, total market cap and its position on the chart looks wrecked. You look at total 3, which is all the coins that I'm most interested in. Well, this is everything from the shittest of the shit to things like Algorand and Chainlink, which are the ones that I've highlighted as decent buys on these lows. So, if we can hold above the 300 billion mark, this could be the area that I'd be looking at for, the green light for all those exchange tokens and all these layer ones and all these other things that I've been saying that, I've got a shopping list for, because this is the chart that represents that. And, with Coinbase and BlackRock making their partnership, building the foundation as to what would be most likely an institutionally led altcoin dominated bull market going into the next few years, this chart is probably going to be the most relevant. So I'd be looking for that. I'd be looking for another, about 50 billion, isn't it, to be shaved off this market, which obviously means more red across the board for all these other altcoins, and including the ones that I know and love and even hold at this point as well. So yeah, it's doing what we kind of wanted and kind of expected, which is to come back down and break down. This is why we sat this market out for September, because the fun had been had. We had this capitulation-ish event where we basically bounced for a period of 2 to 3 months. Same thing happened with traditional markets. We called it the everything bounce, and we called it the alt season that we saw when we got rejected on the Bitcoin dominance chart around here. It was all laid out for us to see, and as we approached these significant lows, we were like, oh, let's sit the whole thing out now. Let's let it do what it wants to do. It can do anything, and it can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways. I'm not particularly interested in the market until we discover a new range, whether that's for the better, which would be above a 200 exponential moving average on Bitcoin, or for the worse, which would be below areas that we've already tested, like our previous low around here. So hopefully, as far as I'm concerned, the best case scenario is that we do break down from here. I think it's also the most likely scenario as well. And then we discover a new range, a lower range, probably into the mid-teens, and see how we look at that point. Then we can start to deploy bots and all these sort of things that we were doing throughout the summer, but that we can't do now because it means exposing ourselves to a downwards market. Wait for the down to play out to whatever extent it wants, and then start to get back involved in the market again. Like I say, it's exactly why I chose to sit this market out throughout September and maybe even beyond until a new range is established. I'm not particularly interested in trading it really, and with all markets looking pretty top heavy, we've got the Dixie that wants to move up to this range where we could get rejected from. We're talking 113 to maybe 115 depending on when it does it. This is a weekly chart with a 22-year-old trend upwards facing channel here, so your ascending channel, which, like I say, historically has not had a good reaction when it gets to the top of this. We got FOMC meeting this week. We don't know what they're going to do, but they might just carry on with what they said they're going to do, which is 0.75, and that's probably going to increase this, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. But I am actually looking for a rejection here. It might not be the rejection that takes us back down to the bottom of the trend line over the next few years, but it could be. But it's certainly likely to see some kind of reaction around here. And that would complement the bearish divergence we got on the weekly as well, so we can get 3, maybe even 4 drives by the time we get to that level. But there's a lot to think about, a lot to look at, when we're trying to digest the fact that the total market cap 3 is still, above where I would be most comfortable in buying blindly into these coins that I like. We've got the total market cap, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's actually breaking down, going, looking like it looks pretty sad, to be honest with you. This is a new week that started below a 200 weekly moving average. That is not a good look. If you think about what Bitcoin did recently, when it came up to those levels, we're still trending below it and looking to go even further down. So it's looking like it wants to go to Wreck City, to be honest with you, and remain there for some time, which again is all perfectly fine. If you believe in Bitcoin and everything like that, then you should welcome lower prices. It gives us the opportunity to buy back lower and start the game from what could be considered to be a square one almost. 12,000 and just a little lower is my highlighted area, and if we can get Bitcoin down to 12,000 at the same time as the total market cap 3 down to the 200 simple moving average, which is around here, and we get that at the same time that we get the Dixie reach this area of rejection, 113, 114. if we merge all those things, if they all take place at the same time, it's kind of like almost like the perfect storm to make an educated guess to where a bottom might take place. That could also be highlighted by another huge red wick on this volume indicator here. So there's a lot to think about. Again, with the bullish divergence, technically still would be intact if we could do that. That would be great. So there's a lot of things that could all happen on the charts at exactly the same time that would help us navigate maybe even the bottom, but close to the bottom. And look, bull markets don't normally just turn around immediately. Yeah, they spend a fair bit of time down at the lows. We had a capitulation event down here. We had a massive crunching crash down. We still went down a little further. We spent about 3 months sideways before the bull market began. It happened really fast, and then it basically consolidated effectively, went sideways for about a year and a half. This is the bull market that we're likely to see again. In fact, we might even go sideways for a much longer period of time. Bitcoin is almost like the heartbeat that keeps the crypto market afloat. So if the 4-year cycle remains intact, which again, you're not looking to put a low in anytime from this month to maybe November, December, so lows can form anytime between then and still be, as far as a cycle is concerned, completely intact. Then yeah, my focus is going to be on these altcoins that I keep talking about, exchange tokens for the obvious reasons, and then certain other things like Algorand, Chainlink, or whatever. Usually, for me, the older the coin, the more reliable the chart. And especially if they they've got through that whole regulation issue, and they've got utility as well. Right, so a nice boring and depressing video for those of you, I suppose, that are holding too much. But if you're anything like me, then you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for moments like this to occur, and whether we come smashing straight back down, which I think is unlikely, or start to trickle down over the next few weeks into next month to these major areas, then we can start to get interested as Bitcoin discovers a new range. But yeah, for the moment, sit back and enjoy the show, which is what we've said this, for the last 3 to 4 weeks now. Enjoy the show. Any altcoin setup that you see, enjoy it for what it's worth, but don't get too attached to it, because the market will tell you that setup is most likely going to be void. Because the market is stronger than the individual chart. We all know this. We see this across the board. And the biggest governor of all charts right now is the Dixie. And we know that the pound and the euro want to continue to go down. So we should only expect it to move up until that trend line. Then again, the Dixie is not, even if we do get up to this level and reject from here, the Dixie's not going to give up on its own. It needs the Federal Reserve to actually force it to give up. This is, I guess, manipulation by its very nature. And we recognise that. We understand that. The term "don't fight the Fed" is, well, it's true. Can't fight the Fed, but we can look for a rejection around here. It would be natural to see it happen. But the Fed can keep this going if they want to. I mean, I'll leave you with this one little tidbit, though. I mean, no currency wants to be too strong. That has negative impacts on world trade anyway. So no currency wants to be too strong. So there will come a point where the Fed will want to pivot because the dollar has increased in value too much. But that's not their main concern. Their main concern is obviously going to be inflation. They want to deal with that. But there is a problem if your currency starts to get too strong in comparison to all the others, because it affects international trade. So there is that. The Fed have got a balancing act to do, and for the moment they're just trying to balance crashing the economy with sorting out inflation. But there would be another question that starts to be highlighted, especially if we break out from here, which would be bullish. It would be very bullish if we broke out from this this channel, and that could cause issues down the line for international trade, and that would be something that they would want to deal with as well, because you can't be having that. Not when you're the world superpower. You need to make sure that you remain within a reasonable area of trading capacity. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy out there. Don't go crazy on these charts. Wait for the situation to unfold, and then we'll see where we go as and when we get there. But sitting the market out this month has shown to be the best thing, and I believe it to be the case still from this point forward. Let's not get too clever, or try to get clever at all on any of these altcoins or any market whatsoever. Capitulation, I feel as though, is around the corner for all markets. and Bitcoin is basically just going to be sitting in the back seat of this rally car that's going off a cliff called traditional markets. Right, thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take it easy.